Morning, here is the news at 10. First, the highlight. Wife of Lagos State Governor, Deputy Governor, Chief Judge, hosts 2025 Lagos Boy Child Initiative participants. Federal government plans 2.3 trillion naira electricity subsidy in year 2025. On the foreign scene, US, Russia begin talks about ending Ukraine war. And in sport, Nigeria's table tennis star Quadri Aruna seeks title defense World Cup spot at African Cup tournament in Tunisia. Now the details. I am Dele Agadumo. Wife of Lagos State Governor Ibijeke Sanwo-Olu, Deputy Governor Obafemi Hamzat, and the Chief Judge of Lagos State Kazeem Alugba have urged schoolboys in the state to shun drugs, cultism, but imbibe positive attitude to take them to greater height. The trio made the appeal when they hosted participants of the 2025 Lagos Boy Child Initiative, LBCI, in their offices where they enlightened the boys on career development, governance, and the importance of lawful conduct. According to Mrs. Sanwo-Olu, the objectives of the Lagos Boy Child Initiative include raising awareness of the rights and welfare of the boy child, promoting educational opportunities for male children, especially those from indigent backgrounds, facilitating the rehabilitation of vulnerable boys through structured referral systems, and nurturing a new generation of well-rounded young men who will contribute positively to the society. Mrs. Sanwo-Olu noted that the 200 boys will be camped for 3 days at Agbowa and will receive training from seasoned professionals and experts with the confidence that the knowledge and skills imparted during this period will be invaluable.
Helping them navigate life challenges with confidence and aspire to great success for themselves, their families, our state, and our nation. Your words of encouragement today will undoubtedly inspire our children to become responsible and successful ambassadors of the society. On behalf of my team, sir, and the participants, I sincerely appreciate your warm reception and unwavering support for our mission to raise responsible, disciplined, and purpose-driven boys who will make a meaningful impact in this community. To our young boys, I encourage you to make the most of this opportunity. Absorb all you can from this workshop.
Speaking to the participants drawn from schools across the state at the conference room of his office in Alausa, Deputy Governor Obafemi Hamzat commended Mrs. Sanwo-Olu for her unwavering commitment to empowering the boy child, which has over the years transformed beneficiaries into better ambassadors of society.
You must be grateful that the First Lady is doing this. And the only way to be grateful is to pay attention and be focused, so that you can take in the content and act on it. You know, there are over 1 million children in our schools. So for you to be selected, you're lucky. So how do you pay back? You must focus and take advantage of everything that you learn. A lot of your generation, they will tell you that education is a scam. Whoever says that to you is a liar.
At the Chief Judge's office, Justice Alugba, who urged the boys to take the golden opportunity of the workshop to rebrand themselves, commended Mrs. Sanwo-Olu for the initiative and expressed excitement at mentoring the boys. It would interest you to know that 400 boys have directly been transformed by the past campaign exercises held both in Badore and Mero in 2022 and 2024, and by extension, several other lives have been influenced by the LBCI indirectly. The second batch of Lagos State pilgrims arrived safely at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport on Monday, February 17, 2025, after a successful pilgrimage to Holy Lands of Israel and Jordan. At the arrival ceremony, Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Home Affairs, Adewumi Ogunsoya, expressed gratitude to the Almighty God for the huge success of the pilgrimage exercise. He said the pilgrimage was well planned and guided, with full support from the Nigeria Christian Pilgrim Commission, NCPC. Board Secretary of the Lagos State Christian Pilgrims Welfare Board, Yetunde Gbafe, also thanked God for the pilgrims' safe return. Gbafe expressed Bafe appreciated Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, his deputy Obafemi Hamzat, and members of staff at large for their support, while Special Advisor on Religious Matters Adebukola Adeleke thanked God for journey mercies and prayed for the permanent impact of the experience on the pilgrims' lives. This batch arrival follows the successful return of the first batch on January 1, 2025. The Lagos State House of Assembly has debunked reports that it instructed operatives of the Department of State Security, DSS, to invade the legislative chamber or restrict access to lawmakers' offices. Chairman, House Committee on Information Strategy and Security, Stephen Ogundipe, in a statement clarified that while the House had previously sought DSS security support, it did not support actions that undermine the sanctity of the Assembly. According to Ogundipe, the invasion by the DSS amounts to an infringement on the independence of the legislature and a direct assault on democratic governance. He adds that the House has called on relevant authorities to investigate the DSS action and ensure the independence of the legislative arm remains intact. It will be recalled that lawmakers and staff arriving at the Assembly complex on Monday were met with locked officers, including those of the Speaker, Deputy Speaker, and Acting Clerk, raising concerns about undue interference in legislative affairs. The DSS later released a letter dated February 14 from the Acting Clerk of the House, Taiwo Otum, requesting enhanced security measures. The Minister of State for Works, Bello Goroyo, has explained why the federal government will not go back on its decision to toll its highways across the country. Goroyo said tolling of highways is the only visible available alternative that can be used to maintain the highways and keep them in good shape. The minister made the clarification after inspecting the Ogoni Highway in Kogi State, a road rehabilitated by the Federal Roads Maintenance Agency, FERMA. He said President Bola Tinubu's administration inherited over 36,000 road networks, stressing that some of them were in very bad shape. Goroyo said budgetary allocations for road maintenance were not enough, hence the decision to toll the highways. The minister urged Nigerians to support President Tinubu's efforts as providing good road networks across Nigeria for several gains. Now to the rest of the stories. The federal government may spend 2.36 trillion naira on electricity subsidies for low-income consumers in 2025. This comes as the multi-year tariff order released by the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission on Sunday showed that the government incurred 178.03 billion naira electricity subsidy in January, despite minimal cash backing. The subsidy payment comes despite low allocations in the budget to cover the mounting electricity costs. The NERC stated that the subsidy was calculated after a review of key tariff indices, which showed that the weighted average cost reflective tariff dropped to 116.75 naira per kilowatt from 213.85 naira per kilowatt in December 2024. The Regulatory Commission explained that the exchange rate was pegged at 1,556 naira to the dollar, an increase in inflation to 34.60%, adding that changes in available generation capacity and costs necessitated a minor review. Pan-North's socio-political organization, Arewa Consultative Forum, ACF, has commended President Bola Tinubu for establishing the Northwest and North Central Development Commissions. ACF Chairman Maman Osuman gave the commendation in Gombe during a courtesy visit to Gombe State Governor Inuwa Yahaya, who doubles as chairman of the Northern States Governors Forum. Osuman, who highlighted the potential for economic growth, stated that the commissions would reduce poverty, inequality, and enhance infrastructure and social amenities in the regions. He cautioned against politicizing appointments within the commissions and urged unity among northern governments and citizens to address regional challenges. And the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Olayemi Cardozo, has canvassed stronger economic ties with the Middle East and Nigerian diaspora community in the region. Speaking during a meeting with the Assistant Governor for Monetary Affairs, Saudi Arabia Central Bank, Talal Al-Humand, on the sideline of the just concluded inaugural conference on emerging market economies organized by the Ministry of Finance, Saudi Arabia, and the International Monetary Fund IMF regional office in Riyadh. Cardozo said there were lessons to be learned from Saudi Arabia in terms of infrastructural development and tourism. According to him, Saudi Arabia's dedication to diversifying its economy through innovative environmental projects, large-scale transformation, and tourism investment is essential for development. Cardozo also reaffirmed his dedication to collaborating with the Nigerian diaspora community in the Middle East to improve remittance flows and strengthen Nigeria's financial sector. He stated that the CBN will continue enhancing macroeconomic fundamentals to establish an enabling environment that will facilitate the growth of the private sector and the generation of high-quality jobs for Nigerians. Responding, Talal Al-Humand assured Cardozo that the Saudi Central Bank will work with the CBN to ensure the attainment of mutually beneficial objectives. Now to foreign news. The US and Russia are holding talks in Saudi Arabia about the war in Ukraine in the first face-to-face discussions between the two countries since Moscow's full-scale invasion of Ukraine. Russia's Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov is meeting US Secretary of State Marco Rubio in Riyadh, but neither Ukraine nor any European countries are invited. The US says the talks are a first step to see if Russia is serious about ending the war, while Russia says the goal is to normalize relations with America. But Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky says it will not recognize any agreements reached from talks it is not involved in. European leaders also want to be involved as they held an emergency summit on Monday. UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer said he would consider sending UK troops to Ukraine in the event of a lasting peace agreement, but other countries were reluctant. Now sport. Nigeria table tennis star and African Cup men's singles defending champion Quadri Aruna is set to defend his title at the 2025 tournament in Tunisia. Aruna is among the continent's top stars billed to take part in the first tournament of the ITTF Africa calendar and will renew his long-time rivalry with Egypt's Omar Assar. Aruna, the most decorated player in the tournament's history, has won the title 5 times, and Assar has also claimed the title 5 times, but Aruna has appeared in more finals. The 2025 ITTF African Cup will be held in Tunis from February 25 to 27 at the 5,500 capacity El Menza Sports Palace, and the semi-finalists in both the men's and women's events will secure their places at the expanded ITTF World Cup in Macau, China, which comes up in April. And that is our news at 10. Just before we go, your vehicle is not a strong room. Please keep your valuables off the view of miscreants. You can follow us and like all our various social media platforms: X at Traffic Radio 961, Facebook Lagos Traffic Radio 96.1 FM, Instagram Lagos Traffic Radio 961. Subscribe and watch our news and programs live on YouTube at Traffic Radio 961. You can also visit our website www.trafficradio961.ng. Did you know that under the Sanwo-Olu administration, over 1,932 companies indicated interest to take on graduate interns after their training program designed to expose them in hands-on work experience? You can get more details on the Lagos State Government website. In the news are the highlights of the major stories. Wife of Lagos State Governor Ibijoke Sanwo-Olu, Deputy Governor Obafemi Hamzat, and the Chief Judge of Lagos State Kazim Alogba have urged schoolboys in the state to shun drugs, cultism, but imbibe positive attitude to take them to greater heights. The federal government may spend 2.36 trillion naira on electricity subsidies for low-income consumers in 2025. We also told you that the US and Russia are holding talks in Saudi Arabia about the war in Ukraine in the first face-to-face discussions between the two countries since Moscow's full-scale invasion of Ukraine. And in sports, Nigeria table tennis star and African Cup men's singles defending champion Quadri Aruna is set to defend his title at the 2025 tournament in Tunisia. For contact with the newsroom, send a message to info@trafficradio961.ng. That is the news broadcast compiled by Abiola Fagbolagun. I am Dele Agadumo. Good morning. Thank you for listening.